So important that we actually, we get educated. Allah Azza increase our knowledge. Today we're talking about understanding food allergy symptoms, common triggers, and how to manage them. Welcome back to Urban Woman with me, Razia Rangwich. It's a public holiday, Youth Day. Now, if you live in South Africa, you have probably encountered or used expressions like, it's merely a minor rash. Or perhaps you just ate something that didn't sit well, or I've simply always struggled with a sensitive tummy. Let's talk about food allergies. Joining us on the line is our special guest, Idonette van Zyl, who is a registered dietitian with a special interest in food allergies, intolerances, and sensitivities. She is passionate about supporting individuals and families living with food allergies through evidence-based nutrition care, practical guidance, and compassionate support aimed at improving overall quality of life. Good morning, Idonette, and welcome to Urban Woman and Radio Ansaar.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me. It's such an honor, and I'm really excited to spend this quick short time together.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate your time, and it's wonderful to have you on as well. Share with us, how serious can a food allergy become if it is not properly diagnosed and managed?
So the difficulty with food allergies is that the symptoms can range from mild symptoms to severe symptoms. And it's all about getting to a professional who can help to accurately diagnose in order for someone to understand whether their reactions that could potentially always be mild, if those reactions could be potentially life-threatening or not. So I almost want to say that there are food allergies that can become serious and can be fatal, but there might be, let's say a poorly managed food allergy, which of which the symptoms would continue just to be mild. Right. And that is why it's so important to get to an experienced healthcare practitioner.
So important, so you understand the body instead of just thinking, okay, ignorance is not bliss. I always say that. Idonette, why are children particularly vulnerable to allergies?
So if we look at children, their immune system is still being developed, and especially because most of our immunity is situated in our gut. Being an infant and also still being young, our gut or the gut is still being matured. So it's actually quite interesting is that some professionals talk about the fourth trimester during the first 3 months of age, where the gut is still being matured. And if during that time there might be inflammation or, there's a potential risk for allergens or allergen exposure during that time. And the children with eczema are particularly at an increased risk of becoming food allergic if they are exposed to allergens through their skin rather than through oral exposure.
Right. And then research shows that food allergies are more common in urban areas than rural communities. What could be driving this trend?
So that is probably one of the most fascinating topics at the moment, and especially because research is really showing us, there's things being researched at the moment which previously was not. So some of them include the increase the cause of or the effects of pollution and environmental exposures such as pesticides that we're exposed to and microplastics even, and also definitely traditional diets that's kind of shifted to westernized ultra-processed food intake. And that affects the microorganisms that live specifically in our digestive tract. And that actually increases our risk for food allergies. So, it's so complex and diverse, but at the end of the day, if we can go back to wholesome, nutritious and nutrient-rich fruits and veggies intake and whole grains, then we would actually reduce our chances of becoming food allergic.
Imagine, if we just ate proper food, we would be in a space. How can someone then distinguish between a mild allergic reaction and a medical emergency?
So mild symptoms might be, a little bit of localized itching or a mild skin rash or reflux in some young children, especially babies. We often see diarrhea or even a little bit of vomiting, but it's typically well managed at home. Whereas an emergency typically involved when there's difficulty breathing, a throat or tongue swelling, persistent coughing and wheezing, dizziness and collapse, loss of consciousness, and also typically when there's more than 2 bodily systems involved. Right. And in such a case, even if there's doubt, it's better rather to get like medical emergency treatment and contact professionals who can assist in that situation.
So important. Now, Idonette, I think many people are actually surprised to learn where allergens can be hidden. Can you share with us some examples of foods that may contain unexpected allergens?
Yes, so I've been working in the field for many, many years, and I think the most common foods that I always tell people about that they are quite surprised about is typically things like our South African bread. So most of our South African commercially prepared bread contains soya, which often people don't, are not aware of, especially if they've been diagnosed with a soya allergy.
Right.
And then most of our margarines contain cow's milk. So often I would find that moms would exclude cow's milk products, but then they kind of overlook the margarines because they didn't know. And also things like vanilla ice cream often contains artificial food colorants, which people also don't often, which they might not know because it's a white product.
Correct.
And then gluten is hidden in so many products, especially things like spice mixtures. So it's, I think the important message is to always read your food label. Don't assume just because you don't think that the allergen might be present. It's always better just to make 100% certain.
Wow. You're so right about these things. I mean, like the butter. Yeah, nobody would assume or even think about that milk content in there. Vanilla ice cream, definitely, because it's white. And gluten. There was a period when my daughter had to go gluten-free diet, and then I realized how it's in everything, but I would have never thought spice mixture. So thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people have to now be on gluten-free diets. Yeah. So if a child has eczema, should parents automatically suspect a food allergy? What's your advice to them?
No, so I think eczema is one of those controversial topics and also often misunderstood. And eczema can be, or is most of the times, it's actually a diagnosis on its own. And if eczema is well managed, you can actually reduce the potential risk of the child becoming food allergic. The concern is when eczema is not well managed, when there's early onset eczema, or like when there's moderate to severe eczema, then those children, especially infants, are actually at an increased risk of becoming food allergic. But it's not because of the food allergy that the eczema is present. It's actually the other way around.
Okay, so they would think that it'll flare up because of whatever they're eating. Alrighty. And share with us, how dangerous can cross-contamination be in kitchens and food preparation areas?
So that can definitely be fatal, and there have been many fatalities all around the world because of this.
Right.
And it's actually also research has proven that, or has shown that, most of your anaphylactic cases that happen occurs away from home.
Yes.
And especially because, in dining areas, the patients are allowed and they should have access to the labeling of a product that's been used. But unfortunately, the knowledge, especially in your dining, your diners and your restaurants in South Africa, unfortunately, the allergy knowledge in our country in those areas is not always that great. For example, you can't just assume if you ask for a cow's milk free dish that they would know that cream is cow's milk. It might sound very, like a simple thing to understand, but I would really advise anyone with food allergies to always rather get the chef, speak to the manager. Don't just speak to the waitresses and the service at the restaurants.
So true. Do take your precautions. Remember, the waiters, they're there just to take your order, but the in-depth knowledge, I think you got to definitely do that extra bit. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Idonette. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. We've definitely taken some golden nuggets there. Food is something we all love, but definitely we need to be aware of what we should be having and not if we have those allergies. We definitely don't want to have any anaphylactic attacks as well. We wish you a lovely day further. Until we connect again.
Thank you. So I would just like to end by referring all of you to the Allergy Foundation's website. They've got fantastic resources available. And if there's information that you would like to inquire about, you're so welcome to go and visit their website.
Wonderful. Just to say that website again.
So it's the allergyfoundation.co.za.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. We wish you a lovely day further. Until then, bye for now.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Bye. There's Idonette van Zyl, a registered dietitian with a special interest in food allergies. I mean, look at that. It can be quite fatal. So remember, if you have allergies or anything of that sort, then just pay attention to that cross-contamination that can be taking place in kitchens, food preparation areas. And I know life can become a little more difficult, but hey, rather be safe than sorry.